Okay, for a new tutorial series, I thought I would do a little 3D horror, maybe first person, so we don't focus too much on the character, but enough, and we'll focus more on interactions and things going on, some elements of the horror game, like maybe like an item inspection. You know, when they pop an item up and you can spin it on screen, stuff like that. Sounds. So this is actually a demo scene from a free asset called Flooded Grounds. I'll put the link to it down below. I also picked up a horror sound effects. I'll put a link to that. I might, grab a zombie or a ghost or something I can find later on too. I'll bring that into another video. But this is the demo scene. Now when I imported it, I also went to the package manager and I went to post-processing and I installed that. Now the horror or the Flooded Grounds was giving me an error on something to do with this post-processing, and I'm sure it's got some beautiful post-processing, but I'm actually just going to delete that whole thing. I figure we might as well do it on our own, right? We'll do our own post-processing, more geared towards the horror aspect. So I actually don't need the character. We'll build our own character, but so I think the first thing I'm going to do is just kind of organize a bit of their scene here for us, right? Like, we don't need their canvas is just for frames. Get rid of that. Get rid of that. I think the rest of it, and they have a lot of little point lights and sounds and all sorts of neat little things, and I'm just going to take it all and I'm just going to drop it into a game object. They got particles, they got all sorts of neat little things in here. The other thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go into light up here and type in light, and you can go by type, and I can take it sun. And now that I have that, I'm going to rotate it and go straight up and down, and then I'm just going to actually just deactivate it. Horror game, we'll stage it more towards nighttime, right? So we're actually just going to turn that light right off. Now it's not very dark yet, unfortunately. So there's a few things we're going to do, right? They have a nice skybox, and that's great, but we want some nighttime stuff happening here. So just changing that skybox already made a pretty big difference. The other thing is with horror, I'm going to bring this fog down. It's on linear, and I'm going to take it to 92. That's going to bring that fog in real thick. And then I'm going to also take that color and I'm going to drop it right down. I don't want to go right black. Oh, whoops. That might be a little dark. But we're going to have it dark. Really dark. That might almost be too dark, but we'll see. We'll play with it. What else we got here? Check that auto generate off. We have fog, skybox. I wonder if I should almost go gradient. No, let's just go with that. Okay. So, I mean, it looks dark. It's missing some stuff. And if you don't know much about post-processing, I'm just going to show you we're going to put a layer on this guy. We'll say layer. I'm going to use transparent FX. Turn that on. I'm going to put this camera on transparent FX layer. I'm going to come over here and I'm going to create an object. We'll call him PP for post-processing. And give him a volume, make him global, put him on that same layer. We're going to say new. And we're going to add some effects. So let's find an area so we can see, maybe see a little better. Stupid mouse. Alright, well, something like that. So we're going to add effect. Ambient occlusion is going to be really good. You're really going to want something like this on a horror game. And if you don't know what ambient occlusion does, it kind of enhances shadows. So as you see, as I increase that, it makes dark places darker, right? Like really, if you look at that bench, like you see, like it's not making the whole thing dark, but in the crevices and corners and stuff. Right, it really has a nice effect, and you can adjust the volume a bit. Right, so you want that pretty high. The other thing we'll add, bloom. I love bloom. Bloom is one of my favorite things in the whole world. And give that, say, an intensity of 2 and 0.8. Sure. For now, we might have to adjust that later. What else should we throw on here? We could add a little depth of field. And bring this down quite far. Oh, way too far. Alright, well, here, let's bring this little guy up. He's showing there a lot better. So, obviously you don't want to go like too nuts. So focus, we'll say 15. Now we'll just keep that at 50. Well, actually kind of hard to see in that shadow, eh? So, what else we want to add into this? Color grading. Drop that to low definition mode. Give it a temperature, and I'm only going to bring this down just a touch. Just a smidge. That's even probably too far. I'm going to go 8. Just to give a real light, almost can't even tell, colder bluish tinge to things. Kind of gives that dead effect. That's probably good for now. So there's more of a kind of a darker night looking scene, evilish, right? It's pretty dark. And that's good. Yeah, for a horror game, that's kind of what we're shooting for. So I'm just going to flick these off for a minute so I can see. And let's just actually get rid of that player. So obviously we're not going to be running around the whole thing. Let's go with this building. It's a nice big building. So we're going to build a character right here. And we're going to build a capsule. Because I can't just drop him at 1, because the level isn't going to like that. And we're going to give him a camera holder. And then we are going to give him a camera effects. And I'll give him another one. Camera animation. And then we're going to give him a camera. And we're going to take that thing as main camera. So, camera holder. Let's bring it up. And let's take our camera. Let's go 55. Take this to as low as it goes. And let's add the post-processing layer to him. There we go. Now we have this dark looking thing down here. So the first thing we need is, let's give our player a tag player. Let's build a layer called layer. Stick him on there. No, just him. And we need a way to move him around. And, I didn't even bring in PlayMaker yet. Look at that, eh? Forget my head if it wasn't attached. Oh, we have an update. I also want to focus a lot with the sounds. I think horror games need really crisp sound. Really, like, timing is kind of everything. I also think we should animate a lot of weird stuff. Like, I don't know, floating books and, you know, doors slamming, and kind of go a little ghostly theme maybe. You know, have a little bit of a puzzle or something like that. So, like, you know, pick up a candlestick and you gotta maybe see the bottom of it and it has a code or something. So that's just about imported. I wish I could play with my other stuff so I could see what we have. I haven't even looked at our horror sound effects yet. Hopefully there's some good stuff there. And there we go. Sorta. So with a character controller, I was debating on whether I should do a character controller setup or do something a little different, like maybe a rigid body or something. I'm not 100% too sure. Like, I was almost debating is, if I take this guy and go height 1, jump him up 0.5, he's, well, if you can kind of see, it ends here. So now if I hit play, he's going to drop down, right? But if I raycast downwards from self distance of 1, we can get the hit point, and do this every frame. We'll throw debug on so we know where we're at. No, we're going to know where we're at because we can see the character. And we could get X, Y, Z. Move that to the bottom. Take the hit point and we're going to get the Y. every frame, and let's add a rigid body. More continuous constraints. We don't want them to fall over. Let's go ram this guy up. And set position. Owner Y to the Y. World every frame. Right, because we should have now. We probably have to move that ray, but that's fine. Okay, so that needs a layer. We don't have a layer for our terrain. Let's add terrain. Okay, so the other thing we should probably actually check on that is we don't want to hit the player as well. So where is our player now? He's sitting down there. So we're ray casting. Apparently we're not hitting anything. Let's take away the set position. Oh. Alright, why are you being silly? Let's not set position quite yet. Get the Y, world, 16, that should be fine. Okay. Let's raycast from position. This is an offset, I believe. -1. If not, we'll just make a grounding object. Alright, so set position. Okay, get rid of that. Let's float add. To the Y, add 0.6 every frame. He's going 2.6. Why is he being so silly? It's like he's not wanting to get this vector. Alright, you know what? That's the way he wants to play it, and we will counter him with odd logic ourselves. Why is he not doing that? Okay, you up here. And this guy. using world. It's just he's not getting that vector. We might have to use 2 FSMs for this. Or just use the character controller. I guess that's the other option. Right, because he's not storing that hit point yet. He's adding and setting position. So then he's down there, and then the ray doesn't hit. Right, so I guess one option then is to get rid of that. And you would build another FSM here, and we would get FSM float. Y, store Y, every frame, set position, world Y to Y, world, every frame, up there. Flick him off for a second, make sure this thing grabs. Right, so there it has proper, and he goes like that, and he's sitting there now. So just looking at that, we might want to up this little guy, something like that, 0.85. So now if I turn him on right at the beginning, is he going to be 5 that next frame? Yes. Okay. He doesn't have the next frame. So let's just, if that's the way he's going to play it as well, I'm going to give him a weight, give him a 0.05 finish. There we have it not working. Alright, well, this is just being annoying. So I'm actually going to get rid of that. Screw you, system. There's a character controller. This is what you have resorted me to do. So there's that. Let's get rid of that. Get axis vector horizontal to our self. Where's my little scrolling tab? Get rid of that. So we have a vector and we have a magnitude. Clear out the hit point and the Y. Get rid of the finished. We have that, and we have set simple move vector. That speed is going to be magnitude space self float multiply him right there, magnitude multiplied by 3 every frame. Oh, I just thought of why that thing wasn't working too. I don't know about that lighting there. See if that's just a that shadow. Let's take that down a little bit. Alright, we'll deal with that after. So here we have, so far, it's a fairly pretty scene, eh? So, stuff off. Maybe that's what was causing it. Lighting, skybox, element. What if we did that? And fog off briefly. Can't change that right now. Alright, well, like I said, we'll figure that out after. So camera holder needs a FSM. And this is our look. So the first thing we want is a cursor. Set mouse cursor. Hide, lock, finish, go over here, and mouse look. Bring those down. Okay, now we're going to go back up to here and access vector to a camera holder. That's not moving at all. Oh, well. Alright. Could have sworn that must have been in the last version. Mouse lock. And you do the look. Mouse look. There we go. 2.5, 2.5. Every frame. Okay, gotta invert the Y because up is down, down is up. Might be a little fast too. Okay, so let's go over to our mouse look and take that down to 1.5, negative 1.5. Test that. That's better. Okay, the actual physical speed of the character feels a little slow. Not that we want it fast for what we're doing. Okay, so there's our little character. So one of the other things we want to do is we can use shake and stuff here. Character animation, I don't know why I hit that. We want a animator and a mentor. Okay, let's create a folder. Our stuff. Now let's create a animator. Camera move. And we're going to stick him here, and we need to animate him a bit. So animation. We should put one more thing here. I don't like actually animating the actual physical camera itself. It just, I don't know, there's something about it. Like cameras can be used for numerous things, so I like to keep them pretty available. But I can animate this guy. So if we have a idle, right, we can have this guy, and we could say at 30 seconds move him up 0.05. That might even be high. And at 1, move him back down. So if we hit play, we get this So that might be a little high. So let's bring him down. 0.02. Okay, now let's create a walk. So the idea of a walk now is we have our position. So we can 0 him. We are at 0 and we want to end at 0. So it loops real nicely. So at, say, the 15, we'll go up just slightly. 0.03. We'll give it a whirl. Say at 30, we can go negative 0.03. And then at 45, 0.03. And we should have this kind of this little walk. Okay, so we have idle and we have walk. So if we say set him as default, let's see what he looks like. That's not bad. A little subtle, but not bad. Okay, so we need to know, this guy needs to know when, well, it needs to have a parameter here. Bool will say is walking. This guy needs to be default. Go him to him. So if that's off, is walking is true, go walking. Is off, is walking is false, go back to idle. Okay. So the animation now, he needs to get FSM float of his root, the FSM magnitude, every frame, float compare, or we can do this kind of with a, we can do this all in one action actually. Math, no, conditional expression. So here we have magnitude. We want to store is true. So mag greater 0.1 every frame. Set animator bool of the owner is walking to the value of what we just did every frame. Okay, so if we're idle, should have a little bit of a hop there. Let's make sure that's working. So my walk is a little on the subtle side. Where's the animator? So if I hit that, back to the animator, which I can't click on the game screen, so let's put the animator up there. There we go. So we're in the walking, a little bit of a hop. We might have to modify that hop. Back the idle, hop, idle. Okay, so yeah, let's. Oh, we have animation right here. So the walk here, we say he is -3. Let's go for 0.03. Let's go up to the 0.06. Let's double it. Okay. Make sure that looks better. and still it could use more, but that's okay. So the other thing we want, since we're already dealing with the animations, is here. We go up. Let's just on these things add an event. We're going to send event step. And we'll just do it on each of our little key points here. Send event step. Click send event step. And we should probably do it in the beginning as well, and at the end. No, we'll just do the one, so it'll play this one and this one pretty much at the same time, so that's probably good just like that. So those are fed to, this is our, if we're walking, this sets the animator. This guy here can catch events, and he has an event called step. Yes. There's step. Let's give him a audio source. So let's audio play. Step. Wow. I don't know if we have any stepping sounds actually. Audio. We have some nice ambience, a bunch of those. I don't think we actually have a walking effect. Yeah, I'm just going to put that in so we can hear something for now. I'll have to find some step effects. That's a little fast. That is a little fast. So let's see what happens if we do that. That's not bad. I mean, that sounds horrible with the drip, but we'll fix that up. I'll find a actual step sound and bring that volume down. And then maybe we'll try to do some alterations based on what we're stepping on as well, like have a wood step and a dirt step and so forth. How are we doing on time? 38. Okay, well that's probably good for the first video. Just kind of getting going. I'll find a sound and probably a zombie, and we will start building a UI and probably maybe a flashlight and see how the flashlight system all works in the next video. Alright, so we'll talk to you guys in a bit.